Okay, well, happy Friday. It is Friday. And so for our students, we are kind of getting out of the midterm rush right now. So happy Friday to everyone. Thank you for joining us today for our Alumni Hall of Fame. We are happy to welcome 5 alumni that, of course, are going to share with us their wisdom, their experiences, and their career advice with us. For those of those students that are able to join us synchronous today, please use the chat if you have any questions. And we are such a small group that, we could just have a very casual conversation as well. So if you feel comfortable, you can just unmute yourself and ask questions at the end of their presentation. We'll have our alumni do a short presentation, and then at the end, we'll have the Q&A. So feel free to unmute yourselves or ask questions through the chat if you feel more comfortable with that. So we'll go ahead. We have, like I said, 5 alumni. Robbie Andres is here with us today. Mary Yang, Mohamed Mnete. I'm sorry.
Mohamed
Mnete. Ester Aguirre, Alfaro, and Bob Lee. So we have Robbie first, talking to us about his experience and who he is. And Robbie, it's up to you if you want to do the share your screen. You should be able to share your screen, or if you want to have just that conversation, we can do that as well.
Since there's so much people, for the sake of time, I think I'll just do the conversation. I don't know how that would work 10 people each with just 1 hour. And so actually I can share like a couple of the slides. Let me grab that. Okay, let's swap this out. Does everyone see my screen?
Yes.
Yeah? Okay, cool. I wasn't sure. Yeah, so hi everyone. My name is Robbie Andres. Class of 2018, same as Mary. Did double in finance and computer science, and currently I work as a cybersecurity data scientist. On a high level, like I went things that I loved my training experience. Honestly, I've met so much great people throughout this whole thing, and I've made so many great friends. I've met professors who've guided me in the right direction, who've put me in a very strong position for the future. And I guess to keep things blunt, there's 3 things straight that I would recommend for everyone, for all the internationals that's coming in. And so these are the 3 things I have found very helpful for me in my career today, and what I would consider you all this advice I would give you all as well, because this is what our HR also considers looking for when looking for candidates for jobs. The first one is have hands-on experience in some form of way. If you can't do the job, we're not going to hire you. And it's very surprising for people to trick us. How I achieved this is that I got some hard skill majors, and I decided to do independent research and senior thesis like Mary. Secondly, I have some initiative. Lead something that would make you differentiate from other people. In my scenario, I wanted to learn on AI, and so I started this San Antonio AI meetup during the summers, and it's been great. I met about 100 people and one of those people connections actually got me my job today. And on the third case, it's every interaction counts. And what I mean by that is, every time you meet someone, it is in my experience, it is a chance to solidify or change people's perception of you. And you'd be surprised how helpful this is in all forms as you go throughout life. Friends you've made, friends you're experiencing in college, people you meet outside of college, inside the workforce. Every interaction is a chance to solidify or change people's perception of you. And those are the three advice I just simply have for everyone. To keep things short.
Thank you, Robbie. Okay, next we have Mary. Mary, like I said, feel free to share your screen, or if you want to just share with us.
I'll try to share the slides since I made them. Let me see. Like I said, it's my first time using Zoom. Not sure if I'll be sharing the entire screen at a time. Oh, one window, perfect. There we go. Okay. So I'm assuming you guys can see it. I want it to full screen, but whatever. I'll just show it like this. Hold on. Whatever. Okay. It's kind of embarrassing that I don't know how to use this without doing full screen, but I'll just do it like this. My name's Marianne. Below is my email. If anyone wants to reach out to me later, I'll send it through the international student ISSS. But so I graduated from Trinity in May 2018. Like Robbie said, we were the same year. I graduated with the Bachelor of Science in Computer Science and Bachelor of Arts in Physics. I chose this picture because it's Dr. Hibbs from Comp Sci on the left and Dr. Steele from Physics on the right, and it's one of my happiest days. So very similar with Robbie, I had a great experience at Trinity, and with both my international student friends and my American friends. And I think I was the president for international club for a while, and it was also a very rewarding experience. Yeah, we were given a few prompts to answer, and one of, I guess, my favorite part of Trinity is the acceptance I got and the friendship I gained along the way. This is just one of the pictures that I think the Comp Sci club, Comp Sci department took. I think it's not everyone, it's just everyone who was there when the photographer's there. Anyway, but yeah, it's kind of unique experience for me to come to Trinity compared to my other friends who've come to the States who, let's say, big state school. We didn't have as many international students, and it kind of forced you to make friends with everyone. And I think that's one of the most rewarding thing that I've ever done, and really broadened my horizon quite a bit. And let's see. But yeah, right now I'm working at Google. And same as Mohamed, I'm sure I'll tell you. But we haven't met since COVID. So I've had 3 internships before Google. 2 of them was during my college, and one of them was after college, very briefly. And then I worked at a local startup, BGN Technologies, for a year. I think they've recently been acquired, and it's Helios now. But yeah, and then I came to Google in Seattle, and I'm pretty happy here. I couldn't find a good photo of me at Google, probably because you don't really take a lot of photo of you in the workplace. But this is just, I think, one of the new games that they pulled in, and I was excited to try it. I think this is near our cafeteria. Let's see. Career advice. A lot of it, I'm sure, will be very similar to our other panelists, and this is how I guess they're true. One of them is work experiences, because I was kind of told that, you don't have to find internship until you're in junior or something, but I don't think that's true. I wish I started much earlier, because this is kind of how jobs work. Like one opportunity is leads to the next. You always want to be looking for a job while you already have one. So yeah, like you can start anywhere, somewhere really small. Maybe it's not even paid, but like I think experience is kind of like a snowball, just like rolls itself. And connections is very important, especially at Trinity. It's such a tight-knit community, and I actually have gone to one of my internship and one of my job um, through like a professor that set me up, and I've also got a lot of job offer or like at least interview opportunities from my friends. um I'm not saying like you should go out and like befriend every single one you see, but I guess don't turn down friendship. um Self-starting is an option for a lot of people if that's the kind of thing that you're up to, and a lot of times it's harder, but it also gives you a lot more training abilities. um and also for international students specifically, I think it's important to have your uh, goal of immigration in mind. So for some people, they wanted to go back to their home country afterwards, after college or after a while. So they might want to plan accordingly, find companies that maybe have an offshore location that is in their country of destination. But if they want to stay in the States, um, you know, they might want to find a bigger company that can sponsor their work visa, um, such and such. It's important to plan ahead because this kind of thing um, happens on a kind of a tight time schedule. So I'm sure it's already on a lot of people's mind. And if I don't want to get too detailed in computer science, because I know not every student is in computer science, but for specifically software engineering interview prep, I really recommend the book, Cracking the Coding Interview. It has almost everything you need. So is that skills that I wish I learned, or I'm glad that I learned in college, would be effective communication. I feel like in a workspace every day, even though I'm a software engineer, communication actually is a very, very big part of my work, and it, like, affects a lot of things that's, you think when you enter, the field as a programmer, you won't need this, but uh, actually it's quite inevitable. And confidence and the hard skills for your profession, that's a given. But yeah, I believe that's all I have.
Thank you, Mary. Okay, thank you for your insight. Thank you, Robbie. I know that I kind of switch gears, but thank you both of you for sharing your insights. And now next we have Mohamed.
I'll go ahead and share my screen. Yeah. All right. So hi everyone. My name is Mohamed. I graduated class of 2020. Didn't really have a graduation, but that's okay. I majored in computer science. I come from Tanzania. I think I know Robbie and I know Mary. But yeah, so it is what it is. And then, the best part of Trinity, the first time I was here, didn't understand what they meant by your baggage is, over 23 pounds. I really didn't understand that. Also the Fahrenheit, and, it was exciting to go to, the Spurs game in San Antonio. It's pretty cool, exciting. And then the small class sizes and the friendship we built with the faculty, I think that was really, really cool. I really love the way that in the computer science department, and actually pretty much in all of the departments, you meet up with students who really know their professors, which I think is pretty cool. I had a friend who was in the math department and he knew his professor so well. I was like, whoa, they were texting Ethan. So that was pretty cool. And then one time, my friends from San Antonio took me swimming in a lake. And the first question I asked them is, how are you guys sure that, there aren't any dangerous creatures in here? All they did was they just took off their clothes and jumped in. And I was like, guys, no, we have crocodiles in our country, and I'm not going to go inside the waters that I don't know. But it was a pretty fun experience. Um, Currently, I am a web developer for Google Pay in Sunnyvale, but I'm still in San Antonio because we're working from home. In terms of career trajectory, I'll kind of like speed this up and kind of intertwine it with the advice that Robbie gave and Mary gave. Um, I think it's very important, like Robbie said, to be an independent researcher and be like a self-starter, like Mary was saying. I think for me, like the same experiences like Mary had, when I was in my first semester, many of my friends were like, oh, it's the summer and I'm gonna go home and chill and not do all that. But I kind of had this goal of like, okay, I have an empty resume and I want to build something and I don't know how to do it, but I'm gonna do it somehow. And I can't do that if I'm going back home both winters and summers, right? Winters are enough. So in the summer, I talked to my professor. Like I said, we're really close to our professors. I talked to Dr. Higgs, and he hooked me up with like um, a summer research for undergrads. And I worked with him that summer at Trinity, and I wasn't getting paid too much, but the experience of working with Dr. Hibbs, the experience of working with Dr. Hibbs was invaluable because he taught me so much about machine learning, about Android developments. And we were just doing machine learning, but he taught me so much. Every day I would ask him questions. He would update me with like, what's happening in the industry? How can I make it? How can I improve myself? So that was pretty cool. And yeah, actually, I I I I actually understood the value of knowing people because I don't know if Mary can remember this, but uh, Mary was doing a research I remember in music. Okay, she was doing something in music, and I think she presented it in like a CS talk or something. I was paying attention. I was paying too much attention actually because I was like, okay, how did she do this? This machine learning is pretty cool. And I also know that Robbie was also doing something to do with what he presented as well. But what I'm trying to say is, I think just listening to Mary and Robbie and knowing what they're doing and having the support of Trinity, I think it was very inspiring for me to kind of take on projects on my own in my free time. And that helped me because Trinity also had student startups. And I had my own personal project. And in my student and startup interview, I didn't even, I didn't even present my resume. I just showed the person the app I made, right? And the person hired me. So it was like, okay, cool. And this was in my second year. And after that, then I did an internship at Google, and then now I am at Google. But also, I would say I would add on to what Mary and Robert and Robbie, what they've said already, is that please explore, and don't be afraid to like go for what you want. Build a plan of what you expect from your experience and what you want to do. Ask people. Trinity is a very helpful community, and don't be afraid to take action because I did actually. I I know this is not conventional, but I did a study abroad program. So I was studying abroad while I was studying abroad, and I went to Dublin for a whole year. And while I was in Dublin, still, I tried to find a job there, and I got a job as like a math teacher. But what I'm trying to say is, and I came back and I compared the experiences. What I'm trying to say is, whatever you do, just be proactive, communicate with people. You're going to learn so much. Trinity is a very helpful community. The fact that you knew your professors, I had an awesome experience, and that's pretty much it. Thank you.
Thank you, Mohamed. Thank you for sharing with us your enthusiasm and what you have learned about Trinity and all these different right experiences that you can explore. All right. Well, next we have Bob. Bob, if you want to share your screen, feel free to do so.
Yeah, first of all, thank you so much for organizing this event, and like I'm truly grateful to be here and just like listening to all of these stories, and can't help but feeling truly inspired from you know, fellow alumni, and even the same fellow class of 2018 as well. So I was also asked to come up with some slideshow to talk about myself. So I tried my best and did come up with some slides, but it is about me. I don't know how good it is, but bear with me. So my name is Bob Lee, in Vietnamese, Lê Minh Hoàng. I was born in Hanoi, Vietnam, and also class of, this is a 2018, computer science with a minor in business administration. I guess some of my hobbies include playing chess, um, practicing jujitsu, web design, music, photography, and cooking sometimes, not as much as I want to. Um, as just like, you know, echoing what everybody has said already, just, you know, about the Trinity experience, I just, you know, can't help to just, you know, uh, feeling so much, you know, gratitude to just the time, you know, just like studying so much. Um, I really wish that I could be, you know, more involved in like the computer science group as well, and more than I could have done as well. But other than just like the academic stuff, I was also really grateful to be a part of, for example, the Trinity Phonathon campaign. I guess that's one of the first, you know, sparks that, you know, kind of like inspire me to facilitate this kind of connection with alumni and current students and fellow Trinity folks. I was also a part of the Vietnamese Student Association. We organized a few cultural events for the Lunar New Year, Mid-Autumn festivals, and so on. Also a big part of the chess club at Trinity, which is like a lot of fun for me personally as well. I guess about the what I'm doing now after graduating from Trinity. Um, so I guess with the computer science degree, I after graduation, I tried to pursue in a career in computer science. I started with a front end developer intern position at a local tech startup, which is like a pretty fun project, and would love to talk about it in more details if you're interested into. Um, Progress to full-time, and then a team lead. Also, just like echoing what, you know, like everybody already said, talking about starting your own kind of like passions and like side project. I also you know, participated in a few startup myself. Most fun for me personally was to create a chess company with two of my best friends, and just, you know, help promote chess and educate kids and adults alike, the game of chess, which I love doing. Um, Currently, so after the previous full-time position at the startup ended, we a few coworkers and myself just decided to start our own kind of like group and team agency that you know, having clients and developing applications and websites for them. Um, I do have I guess like a quick like video showcasing like my team that I love, and like so grateful to have a chance to work with like every day, like remotely even, just because of how like this pandemic has panned out. But it turns out to be a pretty cool stuff. yeah, that was yeah, so that was the team that we're doing. I have another one, but I don't want to go too much over time. I guess they also asked if I have any advice. Honestly, I don't like feel like too like qualified to give any advice per se. Also, like if you guys have any specifics, I'd love to answer any thing in details at all. But I guess one of the advice that I took to heart that one of my mentors that gave me during my time of just development is just truly, you know, like we would talk about like the who and the what and whatever, but like nobody really cares at the end of the day. It's just really how you do it really matters. So truly just have a good, decent why, you know, why you wake up every day and just do the thing that you love and love the thing that you do. Focus on doing things that matters to you, and the what will follow. Anyways, that's I also have a quote that I like here, but that's everything. Yeah, thank you for your time.
Thank you, Bob. Thank you for sharing. Thank you for sharing that video. We really appreciate that. And next, we have Ester Aguirre, who is joining us as well today. She will be our last presenter for today, and then we will move into the Q&A for students to just engage in a casual conversation about their experiences and if you have any questions for them. Esther, if you wanna just have a conversation or if you wanna share your screen with slides, that will be okay as well. Oh, let me see. I don't think I have made you a co-presenter.
I think I sent you the slides, but if you would like me, I can pull them up as well.
See if you can make Esther a co-presenter. I've been trying, I don't see that option for her.
I think I also sent the slides over to May.
Yes. Do you want us to, I can go ahead and do that.
Whatever's easier.
Are you able to share your screen?
I can't.
Yes, I'm not sure. I've been trying to give you access to sharing, and for some reason, it's not allowing me. So I'm just gonna go ahead and
I can just
I have the slides for you.
Okay.
Let me just get to them. There we are.
There we go. I hope everyone's doing okay today. I just stepped out from, I'm doing some consulting for the mayoral campaigns here in my hometown of Monterey. And so I will be really brief. Who am I? I think I am an activist at heart, a peacekeeper, and a doer. I graduated in 2016 from political sciences and Spanish was my minor. And then I came back and did a master's in teaching. I took a year to work at ISSS, and then I came back and did that. So the best part for me about Trinity, honestly, was just the professors. They literally became my family, and I keep in touch with them, and that's just been like the highlight. I didn't enjoy a lot of other aspects at Trinity, if I'm honest, but this is just like a super highlight. And I got accepted at Columbia, and instead of transferring, I decided to stay just because of these professors, these two in particular. We can go to the next one. So right now I am basically a freelance consultant. I've done a lot of different things in my career. So I help parents with experiential learning and sort of parenting and kind of coaching sort of like the psych aspect of being at home and doing distance learning. I do some consulting for public health departments in Texas mostly, and here in Mexico as well as public policy. As I said, right now, I'm an advisor for a few campaigns because we're in that political uplift. And I also do nonprofit project development for different organizations. And then I think the next one is gonna be about my career journey. Like I said, I have done a little bit of everything, but I think what's really close to my heart is activism, and there's different ways to do that, right? So I started in high school, kind of like fundraising for different movements and campaigns. Then I did a lot of community organizing in San Antonio once I got there. And I got a job for working for Congressman Doggett, who is absolutely amazing. And I was there for 2.5 years, I believe. I couldn't continue there because of the way the US law is structured. I am from Mexico, so that was a little bit of a bump in the road, but I decided to continue, if you want to go to the next slide, working in sort of like the nonprofit environment for a little bit. And I went to Spain with Trinity actually, and got a job at Fundación Tomillo doing project development for a different inclusion projects of people that were formerly incarcerated, youth with a lot of issues, like emotional issues that they couldn't stay in school and different things like that. And then if we continue to the next slide, I think that's when I wrote a little bit about my job at ISSSS and the different things that I did. I was there for 1.5 years. Essentially, I started running the shelter program and then went on to do community outreach and project development. If you want to go one more slide, Dr. Rodriguez. So my job is basically just looking at a bunch of things that aren't working and improving them. Oh, I forgot about this. I used to work for CADAC, which is an organization here that focuses on preventing police and military abuse in Mexico, which is a very touchy subject. And she's one of my heroes, one of my mentors. And we were funded by the Victims of Torture Fund for the UN. So that was really cool. And then I think it's finally the racist slide, if I'm not mistaken. So yeah, I ran the shelter first, and then I transitioned into aid logistics, which is why I guess my experience is relevant to public health right now, because of figuring out logistics for vaccines and kind of how do you get help to people in the quickest way. And then I finally decided to sort of focus on project development, but this is what my job looks like most of the time. It's just a bunch of papers, lots of coffee, and if you want to go one more slide, I think it's the same pretty much. And lots of eating on the floor and just finding a corner where you can present, like today. We're just in the back of the house. And the 3 lessons I think I would leave with you for building your professional future is, number 1, just live ethically and with integrity. More than the things that you say, the way that you live your life is very impactful to people, and they will make assumptions based on that. The second one, I think, especially once you enter a workplace environment, is always assume that people are coming from a good place. It's really easy for us to feel hated or to feel like people have it against you, but you really never know what they're thinking about or what each person has in their own little head in their world. So assuming that people are coming from a good place, I think, has been sort of like a rule of thumb, especially in a work environment. And lastly, never waste an opportunity to build a bridge when you could be making friends. And I think there was one more slide on,
Sorry.
It's okay. It was my favorite slide because I've been thinking about this a lot, but it's just sort of, skills to that. I think you guys, I don't know, I think the pandemic has posed the opportunity to build these 3 things, specifically resilience. So like never giving up regardless of what you're facing. Setting proper boundaries is super important in a work environment, especially like mine, but also with friends and with family and with all of these things to protect yourself. And lastly, effective communication. Like, it's just very key in every area of your life. And I put a bucket here because I think since you were born, you are given a bucket of minutes, and it starts running out since you take your first breath. So it's really important that you guys think about how you actually want to use it, since that first second, and just think about this non-renewable resource that is your time as something that you get to invest every day. So spend it wisely, I guess, is kind of where I'm going with that one. And now I think I'm done. So that's my email. I usually take about a week to respond, but feel free to email me at any time. I'm gonna have to run out and get back into the campaign trail in a little bit, but just feel free to reach out. I am always super willing to build those bridges with you guys and stay in touch. So yeah.
Thank you, Esther. Thank you for taking the time to come and share some of your insights with our students. As I said at the beginning, a lot of our students are still studying remotely from outside the US. So this event is being recorded so that our students can access this at a more convenient time. But thank you so much for sharing your experiences and your insight and your advice with our students. And I would like to take now time for some questions, and I'll let Mai get us started with some of the questions that some students might have sent her to her that were not able to come. So Mai, do you want to help us start the conversation? She might be having some difficulties getting connected, but I do have questions. A couple of you mentioned this idea of really working on effective communicating with people. And do you have any suggestions for our students on how they can develop this communication skills that will prepare them post-graduation for the job market?
You mean just like communication, like overall? I think that's definitely like one of the most like vital skill, and I'm sure that everybody can agree, because in my estimate, like any like successful people that I know of are both good at both technical and with the people as well. So it's not like if you're like excellent in like technical stuff but you're bad at working in a team, that's a no-go. And similarly, if you only talking and not working, that's a no-go as well. So definitely that's the two things that you need to balance, and communications goes really hand in hand in just working in a team. And so that's something that definitely everybody should be working on, and something that would be very useful in the workplace for sure.
I think from my experience, I absolutely agree with Bob. Like, you can't be only working and not communicating. Like, a lot of times this leads to work unappreciated, just lack of visibility. And I think for me, this only applies since I came to the States, because I feel like different cultures have different patterns of communication. But here, I think what my rule of thumb is just be honest, at all times, honestly, and assume best intentions from others. If you think something's gonna benefit both you and the other, but it might be a little awkward to say, as long as you're presenting yourself, with full information and unassume the other is not coming at you hostily, I think it will work out. And honestly, I know this is an international student panel, and a lot of us, including me, struggle with the language barrier. But I think the I don't know, the America I've seen, so they're like it's very accommodating to you know, ESL basically in general. So as long as you get your words out, it doesn't matter, grammar doesn't matter, like nothing matters as long as you get your point across. So don't be afraid to talk is what I want to say, I guess.
Thank you, Mary. Okay.
I would say, in addition to what Bob and Mary just said, putting yourself out there, and just just speak up. You know, you might be afraid. You might be like, "Oh, my idea, maybe it's not. It's gonna be awkward." But if you have the best intention, if you're working in a team, just don't be afraid to like speak up. If there's a chance to do a presentation, don't be afraid to like, you know, speak the words. And even if you struggle, like even if your English is not that well, the only way you can really improve is just by speaking. So, you know, take chances, communicate as much as possible, take part in presentations. Don't be like, oh, maybe I'm not really smart, or maybe what I'm gonna say, it's not gonna be that impactful. You won't really know until you actually try. So that's all I can say.
To go on top, to build on top of what everyone's saying, like it's right. Like, just don't be afraid to speak. If you want some numbers on top of that, like, not to stereotype on gender, but they say that there's like there's this normal habit, like in the workforce, when women are dominated, but in the workforce there tend to be more men than women. Men tend to talk loud. When someone's talking, they talk louder, which discourages. There's this stereotype. It discourages women from speaking up because everyone's talking louder and louder, and so that actually carries. So I've seen that as well from the new hires we have here, in my company, wherein people are just when that scenario comes into play, they're just afraid to speak. As everyone's been saying, as Mary, Bob, and Mohamed are saying, if you have something that's a good point, don't be afraid to say it. Even though some words may come across wrong, as Mary said, everyone's very accommodating here in internationals. So don't be afraid to speak. Don't be afraid to voice. Don't be afraid to try.
Thank you, Rob.
Yeah, just to add, like one last important thing. Or sometimes what you're afraid to say might actually save the whole team. So just like understand that, like the idea you're hiding because you're afraid you might not speak it well might actually save the whole team a lot of time and a lot of money. So yeah, just that.
Thank you. That's a great point. And it is something that you know, we need to remember, right? And maybe it's a question, and you might be opening up the conversation for others to join in that. From the students that are able to join us, I know that some were having issues with the mic, but if you can use the chat as well to post your questions. Any questions from the students that we have right now?
I have a question. I missed the first half of the presentation, so I might have like missed this. But did y'all have like a job lined up right after graduation, or did you spend some time after graduation to look for a job?
I can speak on that because I think I had a particularly tragic experience post-graduation. So I was actually going to go to grad school, but I decided not to, kind of last minute. And that was very challenging as an international student because like you can only stay in the US, I think 2 months post graduation or something. So that was my window for finding a job. And I guess that's where I really love Trinity. Like at that moment, I just like literally emailed all of my professors, the professors that I didn't even know that well. Some people from like entrepreneurship. I think Dr. Martinez, I've never even talked to him. I just email him, and a bunch of other computer science professors. And like, do you have anyone that could, give me a job interview? Because I need a job now. And yeah, and it's a lot of cold calls, a lot of like just whatever. And eventually what did land me a job was a connection. So I had an intermediate job that was interview that paid me really little, but I needed a job to basically stay afloat and stay in the US while I find another one. And eventually what landed me the BGN job was actually a connection from a professor, and he called someone, like basically the CEO of that company, and he agreed to give me an interview, and I worked there for a while before I got hired at Google. But yeah, that's basically the process. I don't know if you have anything specific you want to ask about, but I'm just saying it's doable. Like it's doable to find a job as an international student. It might be a little tricky, but especially the resource that Trinity has, I think it's especially advantageous place to be.
Any other comments from our panelists?
Yeah, since, Mary just mentioned, it's the time after graduation is very limiting, and you're kind of in a rush. So the decision of whether to take on a job or to go to grad school has to be made prior to like graduation. I'd say the sooner the better. And it can start as like, as simple as like communicating the idea to your professor or anyone or any of the amazing alumni we have today. Just communicating the idea, getting the steps done, planning it out, whether it's grad school or whether it's, a job, planning it out before graduation is makes it much easier, I would say. But also it is possible to do it after graduation, but it just depends on the parameters.
Definitely agree with that 100%. In the sense that, and especially that during college, definitely have options. I think that's definitely key, because like either you apply for like graduate school or get a job or anything like that. If you have like options, that you should be good, because like I know plenty of people have different career paths, and like today we just meet and many people have taken different paths, and there were ways so that you can be successful in that path if you choose to. So definitely have options if you like, I'd say plan A, plan B, plan C. If this doesn't work out, then you have plan B. For me personally, I did, for example, my last semester of college, I did like intern for a bunch of people, just like I assume many of you guys did. And so, from that, just come up with different options. Oh, this for full-time position, I can do this, I can do graduate, something like that. So definitely options is key. Look for options, definitely.
Their stories are the best. I was just lucky enough to have a job lined up already. But I can start answering the question that's in the chat. I don't know if the recording sees it, but the question on the chat is, how does one handle workplace disappointment, and how do you negotiate salary and working conditions? Just so the recording hears it. On my opinion on that, the first question on handling workplace disappointment comes in, I see that broken down in two ways. It's one, are you disappointed with what you're doing? Or second, it's, are you disappointed with the people that you're surrounded with? On the people aspect, that's, if you're bothered by it, that's actually the point of having managers. That's their job. Bring it up to them, talk to them. They can definitely, they will help you in numerous ways. move laterally, move to a different move team, help you put you in a different task. They'll be very helpful there. In the terms of if the job is bothering, that's a little bit tricky now. I have friends that are older than us that are internationals, and are very scared of, like, they start a job, they don't think they can move to a different company because their current company is already offering them all the sponsorships, but they hate what they're doing. My comment on that is, don't be afraid. If there's 5 alumni here alone who are like sponsored, I can assure you then we're more or less in different companies. You can get a sponsorship in different companies. I have seen it. I know of someone personally who has experienced it. So don't be afraid to move different companies if you're sick of what you're doing. The salary's a bit tricky, and I'll lean on my comrades to respond to that.
I think I almost agree with Robbie completely. Like, you know, if this is beyond salvation, you just don't want to work there anymore, change job. And like I said, the best time to find a job is while you have a job. They don't know how terrible your current job is, like how it makes you feel, and that also comes into the salary negotiation. Is when you have options, you you have a better chance of negotiating your salary. But even if you don't have options, you always negotiate the salary. You know, it's an awkward thing to do for everyone. My first time negotiating salary, I was like, oh my God, they're offering me money. Like, I'll take anything. But I basically Googled this. I was like, how to negotiate salary? They're like, here are 5 sentences you can say. I was like, okay, let me type one of them. And I got like, I don't know, I think like a 15% raise on top of that. And that's like, that's all you need to do, honestly. And when you first get a job, that's the most chance you will get a raise ever. Like, a lot of people get more money by job hopping, like, because you don't get a raise within the same company as easily. So this is your one chance to make your money, and they won't hold it against you ever. I don't think anyone does. This is just a part of the game. If the employers knows it, employees know it. So yeah, that's that. But one thing I want to say with regard to workplace disappointment is that there's a lot of times that you can change the environment, the scenario. If it's the people that you have problems with, before you decide to quit, maybe you can start with some effective communication. Like, I've definitely dealt with, you know, not everything is rainbows and butterflies. And I had a rough patch with one of my previous employers. I feel like, you know, he didn't like me at a point. I don't know why. So I had a few suspicions. So I came to him one day. I was like, hey, do you not like it when I ask you like 20 questions a day? He said, yes, actually. Can you spend a little more time on your own? I was like, yes, perfectly. I was used to college professors encouraging me to ask questions. I can change that. He said, perfect. And so the thing was just squared away. So a lot of times it's not as dire as you think, but if it is, just get a new job. Yeah.
Well, I think we are almost about that time, and I just want to really, well, let me ask the students if they have another questions. We might be able to entertain one more question. Okay, well, thank you so much for joining us today. We really appreciate you taking the time to come and share with us your experiences, your advice with our students, taking the time out of your busy schedule to be with us today. We appreciate what you have shared, and we will make this available to all of our international students. And I'm sure that you know, the tips that you have given, the wisdom, will be very useful for all of them. So thank you so much again for coming today. and have a great weekend. If you're in Texas, the weather is supposed to be fabulous this weekend, so enjoy.